Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here as we prepare for our fourth race of the season, the second season of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series. We are under the lights for the first time here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, getting ready for tonight's running of the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500. It's also the first time that Atlanta Motor Speedway is going to have the 2019 rules package in its race, so that should make for some very interesting racing in terms of how the draft works, and also in terms of fuel strategy, because last year when we ran here at Atlanta, we ran with the Cup physics. We are running with the CTS physics here this evening, which means the fuel tank's going to be a little bit smaller, fuel consumption is going to be a little bit greater, and we could see a lot more pit stops in this race than we saw in last year's race, so that will definitely be something to watch out for. 82 laps of racing, I should say, here this evening, so it's a really long race, actually, for these drivers to have to deal with, so this has all the looks of a fuel strategy race about it, and 40 drivers look to take the checkered flag here this evening. So far, our playoff grid starting to get a little bit filled up with Cole Baker winning at Daytona, Trey Wright winning at Manassas, and of course last week it was Wyatt Quayle going to victory lane at Las Vegas. So far, a Chevy, a Ford, and a Toyota have all gone to victory lane. We've got a Ford and a Chevy on the front row for tonight's race. The 39 of Keith Batson, who had a DNF last week at Las Vegas. He's now 25th in points coming to this one, trying to bounce back. Alongside of him is Austin LaPlante, who did have a good run last week, jumped up 12 spots in the stands, and comes into this race 10th in the overall points. We're going to go down trackside and get the command in just a moment, but I should also tell you that here tonight we are running a different version of Atlanta than we ran last year, so maybe the racing will be a little bit better. We'll wait and see. Let's go get that command now.
Drivers, start your engines!
So as always, let's give you your top 10 the point standings coming into today's race, and it's close up there, top the point standings right now as far as the battle. You've got Seth Cole still with the points lead, but only 3 points in hand over Ryan Acosta and 4 points over our Manassas winner, Trey Wright. Benjamin Miles, he's 4th in the point standings, 17 points back, and currently rounding out your top 5 is William Brock. He is 20th in points. Brock's actually been a little bit of a surprise. I haven't really talked a lot about him this season up to this point, and yet he's up there inside the top 5 in points. The rest of the top 10 in points is rounded out by Adam Garcia, his teammate Mitchell Collins, Vince Salmriego, Benny Watson, and the aforementioned Austin LaPlante, who starts on the outside of the front row. Our onboard cameras here today. The Toyota driver is Matt Haas with the Speed Racing onboard on the number 8. The Dodge onboard camera with Ryan Brommer, the Mountain Dew onboard. The Cheez-It onboard on Ford driver Adam Garcia. The Arizona T onboard on our Daytona 500 winner, the Chevy driver Cole Baker. And carrying the helmet cam today, the defending winner of this race, Jesse Turner, in the number 47. So here we go, 82 laps of racing here tonight at the D-shaped 1.5 miles of Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll see if the cooler conditions will make the track grippier and make more battling for the lead. As the green flag's in the air, let's roll at Hotlanta. Well, if that was any signal of what we can expect tonight, that inside line is definitely going to be the place to be if you're going to make passes. As who's going to lead the first lap? I thought maybe Keith Batson would, but Alexander Rowe, the rookie, forges a hold the inside through 3 and 4, and he will lead the first lap of the evening. Carter Friesen now darts down to the inside as I'm messing up with the camera angles. Oh, I hit the wrong button, that's why. 4 wide in turns 1 and 2 for a brief moment. That was Zach Rogers in a precarious position, and he's now going to find himself back in the middle of a 3 wide as they're 3 wide for the lead. Friesen up high, Garcia in the middle, Jordan Lopez down on the bottom. And we are 3 wide, several rows deep, all the way back through this field. As Levi McIntyre now takes a turn to the bottom of the racetrack. And I don't know why, but I got a little bit of a sinking feeling that they can't hold this entire race without something happening. Here comes last week's winner, Wyatt Quayle. He gets put in the middle. Sebastian Kukulon down on the bottom. And there you go, a couple of our former winners side by side. Quail, our Las Vegas winner, side by side with our Manassas winner, Trey Wright, who's now down on the bottom, looking for the race lead in that Green Day number 28. Johnny Gardner in the 14, right behind him. Talked about William Brock being a little bit of a dark horse here at the early portion of this season, with us not talking a whole lot about him. Well, this is home court, home turf for William Brock. Brock, Georgia native, would love to be able to get it done here in front of his home fans. Remember last year he was a 3-time winner. Would love to get a win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And I was actually looking back through the statistics of last year's race, and very ironically enough, we're not seeing drivers be able to hold on to the race lead very much right now. I would think that after we have a round of green flag pit stops, if we get to that point, the field will probably get somewhat spread out. But the driver who led the most laps last year did not go on to win the race. Jesse Turner led 14 laps, went on to win as he's about to actually go for the race lead here. But the driver who led the most laps is there 4 wide there. Hold on a second, and there they go. Oh, we got a big wreck there out of turn 2, and they're going to slide down in front of traffic on the backstretch, and the caution is out. Well, going real quickly back to what I was going to say, the driver who led the most laps last year was James Qualls. He led 21 laps here and went on to finish the race 2 laps down outside the top 25. So leading the most laps doesn't exactly mean you're going to win this race, and there's a lot of drivers, I think, right now that are not going to win this race after what just happened over in turn 1 and 2. And then culminated even more onto the back straightaway. And the first 2 cars I saw in trouble, it was Charles Sanford and Matt Haas 4 wide. And I think the first couple of cars that went up into the wall were Zach Rogers and Jessica Shelton. Well, there's no doubt in my mind these drivers will be on pit road here with the aid of this yellow flag. That'll extend when the green flag pit stops would take place a little bit further. And let's see who was involved in the wreck. There's Johnny Gardner, a lot of damage. We just saw Zach Rogers down the bottom of your screen just take his car to the garage area. Oh, we got a lot of damaged goods back here. Matt McIntyre, Benny Watson, William Brock, we just talked about him, 5th in points. The hometown boy will not win here tonight. Keith Batson, the pole sitter, was involved. Jessica Shelton, Jose Mills, last week's winner Wyatt Quail, Benjamin Miles. I see a lot of drivers that did not get through that wreck unscathed, with some kind of damage on their race cars. It's hard to tell further back of any other drivers that might have gotten collected up there, like Kyle Matthews, and I don't know if he got a piece of that. Seth Cole, the points leader's back there in all of this. Don't know if he got involved or not. We'll definitely get an idea in just a moment as we'll go back and take a look at a replay. But for now, the caution is out for a pretty big wreck over, really, in turn number 2. Looks like Austin LaPlante got involved as well, so our entire front row sustained damage from that wreck. As the race off of pit road, it was won by Jesse Turner. So he'll restart as the race leader, defending winner of this race. Let's, for now, go back and see what happened to bring out our first caution of the race here early at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You can see they were 4 wide. They were actually 4 wide, 2 rows deep. Like I said, I didn't think they'd be staying 3 wide for very long. And the contact, where does it start, is the question. Oh, it looks like it's actually going to start between Shelton and Friesen. Friesen forces Jessica Shelton up the track. Chris Dollerton got collected up in this. Didn't see him. Look at James Qualls also in this. He's the car up on his side, riding the outside wall. There's the shot from Johnny Gardner and Matt McIntyre. Ryan Butcher got a piece. You see Austin LaPlante back there with hood damage. Butcher got hooked up off the nose of Matthew Rodriguez back up into the outside wall. Jack Mitchell was involved. Trey Wright, I think, got a piece of it perhaps. There's Keith Batson getting involved down there on the right side of your screen, along with Benny Watson in the 75. Woo! Near miss there for Alexander Rowe as he was following behind his teammate Austin LaPlante. See Wyatt Quail, Jose Mills, Dylan Young back here. I know that both Mills and Quail got involved. I don't know about Dylan Young. Let's see if we get a better camera angle here. Here you see the wreck start. So Chris Dollerton, Jack Mitchell were caught up in this, and James Qualls from the get-go, and I didn't know they were involved in the wreck. See Jose Mills, he's sticking out, and I think, yeah, he's the one that Wyatt Quayle gets, and then Quayle goes down into William Brock. Brock gets hit from behind by his teammate LaPlante. And this will definitely give us a much better angle of who else got involved in it. Ryan Brommer right behind this. Alexander Rowe might have gotten a little piece with the right front. There's where Keith Batson gets involved. There's Benny Watson as he runs into both Wyatt Quayle and then into Keith Batson. That's where he got his significant damage. Benjamin Miles, I think, might have gotten through relatively unscathed. Same for Ryan Brommer. Same for Dylan Young. So there were a couple of drivers that did a pretty good job of either slowing down or avoiding the wreck. But for now, we've got some onboards that we could take. Number of our onboard cameras were behind or right in the middle of this wreck. First, we're going to go on board our Toyota driver Matt Haas on the rear bumper of his car. Now, we're starting over here in the exit of turn 4, just so you can see how quickly it culminated from 3 wide into 4 wide going into turn 1. Saw that contact, that kind of door banging between Jessica Shelton and Carter Freeze, and that's what triggered the wreck. And now on board with Ryan Brommer, who does a heck of a job getting through this wreck. I honestly don't think he hit anybody. That was an amazing, amazing job by the driver of the Mountain Dew Dodge Challenger. Well, the unfortunate part about early wrecks is early retirees, and to be honest, I'm really surprised that we've only got 4 drivers out of the race after what we just saw with a number of the hits that were taken. Benny Watson's going to finish out of the race in 37th, so boy, Benny Watson had a somewhat decent run last week, although he was, I think, the last car to DNF, finished in 14th, 15th, something like that, at Las Vegas. He's going to drop out of the top 10 in points now with this run. Zach Rogers, 38th, is where he'll finish. James Qualls, boy, they just can't seem to get out of the blocks for that team. He's going to finish with another DNF in 39th, and Jack Mitchell finishes in 40th as the green flag is back in the air. 36 cars still running, all on the lead lap, and as soon as I say that, now only 35 on the lead lap as Johnny Gardner just got put a lap down. Justin Turner out in front. Cole Baker, Michael Norman, that was your top 3 when we went back green. Right now in 4th would be Matt Haas, Carter Friesen, Ryan Acosta, that's your top 6. Carson Gumbs, Seth Cole, and Mitchell Collins are 7th, 8th, and 9th, and your top 10 right now would be completed by Charles Sanford. So these drivers are able to go at least a little bit longer, 7 to 8 laps further than they would have been able to until we get to that green flag pit stop, or I should say maybe the first of many green flag pit stops here this evening. And sometimes when you start double wide at the beginning of a race, you are very anxious to go 3 wide, and then when you're 3 wide, you get very anxious to try and force it 4 wide. And are we going 4 wide again this early? Yes, we are. Seth Cole going to get spun off the nose of Mitchell Collins, up and over. And another big wreck on the back straightaway. Oh my goodness. Cole is still on his roof. Oh, and he just got clobbered by Trey Wright. Caution waves for the 2nd time here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And a lot more drivers involved in this one. Charles Sanford's on pit road. Cole Baker, Casey Nanico, Keith Batson. That's a lot of others, too. Matt McIntyre, I think, was in it again. Sebastian Kukulon's on pit road. Matthew Rodriguez. Caution waves once more. Adam Garcia was in it. There's Derek Hamill. The rookie's day is probably done. Carter Friesen. Matt McIntyre was in that as well, as I mentioned. There's more drivers with a lot of damage up here. Alexander Rowe, Ryan Butcher, Chris Dallerton, Marcus Sachi. Levi McIntyre's got right side damage. It's hard to tell from some of these drivers who got collected up in this one or who has damage from the last one, but looks like Ryan Brommer was in it, Jordan Lopez was in it. And just based off of what I saw, that looked like that was a wreck that shouldn't have even happened. They were 4 wide in a pack of 6 up at the front. And somehow, someway, they managed to wreck each other. Well, let's go back and take a look and see what happened, but there's no doubt about it. Right now, Atlanta Motor Speedway, a track where I, going in, thought this was going to be a race of fuel strategy. Now it's looking very much like our race at Las Vegas, where it's going to be a race of survival. And this early on in the race, especially after we had already had a big wreck in the first 10 laps, I'm really trying to find a way to justify this. Mitchell Collins making a move 4 wide there to the inside of Seth Cole, already into his left rear quarter panel. You know that's not going to work. At this point, they had it saved. He could have backed off, but he doesn't. He continues to stay in Cole's left rear quarter panel, and the points leader is going to go right up in front of Carter Friedson. Hard hit into the wall. That car goes up onto its roof and never stops being on its roof until he gets down to turn 3. There's where his teammate Sebastian Kukulon gets involved, as well as his other teammate Cole Baker collected. Jordan Lopez up into the wall. He gets hit by Ryan Brommer. There's Matthew Rodriguez hitting Cole Baker. You're about to see right there. There's Derek Hamill. Here comes Adam Garcia. He gets hit. And somebody, I think, comes back up into traffic over in turn 3 or turn 4 as well. Oh, yeah, there's a wreck up there. I can't tell who that is, though. Oh, Levi McIntyre just avoids, and then Trey Wright comes flying in. Nowhere for him to go as he clobbers the 72 of Seth Cole. And we had a wreck further up here as well. And I think that's where a lot of the damaged cars were. Like Dollerton and Ryan Butcher. Yeah, let's see what happens here. Someone shoots back up the track in turn 3. Was it Kyle Matthews, perhaps? Oh, no, it was the 77. Casey Nanico. Let's see what happens here. Oh, he gets hooked in the left rear by Dylan Young. That snaps his Toyota Camry around up in front of his teammate Ryan Butcher. So that's both of the Auto Junction Racing cars involved. Alexander Rowe, William Brock, Marcus Sachi. Keith Batson got a little piece of that. Austin LaPlante riding the wall to try to avoid. And I'm pretty certain somebody's going to get clobbered by the 7 of Matt McIntyre here, unless he was just down on the apron avoiding. I guess he was avoiding the wreck. So I don't think he did get involved in it. Well, we've got more onboards to take. Second caution of the evening. Our first 2 cautions in this race have definitely been big ones and are very quickly dwindling down our field of race-winning cars. Let's start first with our Arizona Iced Tea onboard with Daytona 500 winner Cole Baker. You heard him lift when he got into turn 2. He knew something was going to happen. He still couldn't avoid it. Well, Ryan Brommer got through the first wreck. Not so lucky this time. And finally, Adam Garcia, 6th in points coming into this race. Oh, and he got a front row seat of that hit between Trey Wright and Seth Cole. Well, we got some varying strategies under this caution. So Cody Lamas is going to restart as our race leader, the rookie out of Michael Norman Motorsports. He's got Carson Gum behind him. Now Carson Gum's got some damage that he sustained running into somebody on pit road. But he'll restart second, so we'll see if he's up to speed with that damage or not. Michael Norman will line up third. Matt Haas in fourth. Jordan Lopez in fifth. Lopez, we know, has some damage. So too does last week's winner Wyatt Quayle, who restarts 6th, Jesse Turner 7th, Vince Almriego 8th, Levi McIntyre in 9th, and Dylan Young can complete the top 10. We right now have 24 cars in the lead lap, 4 cars on the inside line, all 1 lap down. Casey Nanico, Matthew Rodriguez, Johnny Gardner, and Charles Sanford out of the race after all the incidents we saw from turn 2 down into turn 3. Chris Dollerton, Ryan Butcher, Keith Batson, Sebastian Kukulon, Adam Garcia, Trey Wright, Cole Baker. Seth Cole will undoubtedly lose the points lead today as he'll finish in 36th. And they join Benny Watson, Zach Rogers, James Qualls, and Jack Mitchell in the garage area. 17 laps in, we've already worked our second caution. And both our cautions this evening so far have been doozies. Slower traffic there on that inside line. Matthew Rodriguez, Johnny Gardner, definitely not up to speed. As up front, it's going to be a battle between teammates for the race lead. Maybe not. It's going to be a 3 Camry show as it's Matt Haas down on the bottom of Norman and Lamas. And he'll go to the top spot. Matt Haas drove last season for the Chevrolet team of Unknown Motorsports. He saw his teammates at the time, Jay Jefferson and Diego Yepes, go to Victory Lane, but never found Victory Lane on his own. And then all 3 of his teammates from that organization did not re-sign for the second season of Duracell Cup, so he had to go to a single car entry of Haas Racing. And the road to start this season has not exactly been an easy one. He's 27th in the points coming into this race, and he's still looking for his first top 10 of the season, as we are 4 wide again. They do settle it back out to 3 wide, but come on, guys. We've already had 2 big wrecks in the first 20 laps of this race, and both of them really due to 4 wide formations, especially down in turns 1 and 2. So why do these drivers keep testing the waters? I don't know. Right now, we've only got 7 cars up in this lead pack. And you gotta go back here before you find Mitchell Collins, Dylan Young, Jose Mills, Ryan Brommer, and Ryan Acosta. This is definitely right now looking to be a good night for Ryan Acosta, whether he wins the race or not. He scored in the 10th position, and we already mentioned the fact that Seth Cole is out of this race, as is Trey Wright. They came in 1st and 3rd in the points. Ryan Acosta came in 2nd, only 3 points out of the lead. So right now, barring any issues, it's definitely looking like Ryan Acosta could leave Atlanta as your overall points leader. Meanwhile, up at the front again, got a battle for the lead. Jesse Turner trying to go back-to-back in 2 seasons here at Atlanta in taking the checkered flag. If I recall correctly, he had the U.S. Air Force as his sponsor on his race car when he won here 1 year ago. Conditions obviously much different, though, this season, running the 2019 rules package this year. We're racing here under the lights. And he's still sponsored by the U.S. Air Force, but much different looking, updated look to his livery. Cody Lamas in the 84. He's not a native of Georgia, but he lives right next door in Florida. And he's going to get held up here by the 77 of Casey Nanico. It looked like Nanico gave him the inside line, and he didn't take it. And now Casey Nanico riding the bottom is going to hold these guys up, and that just brought Dylan Young, Ryan Acosta, Jose Mills, Ryan Brommer, and Mitchell Collins into the party here. There's another group back behind them that maybe if they get held up enough by the 77, they could catch up. You got some fast cars back here still. Vince Almriego, Benjamin Miles, and Levi McIntyre. I don't think really any of them have been involved in wrecks here this evening. Austin LaPlante still soldiering on without a hood. In 16th, Carter Friesen. We know he was involved in the wreck with Seth Cole. He was the one that got the first hit with him, but he's in 17th still running. Rookie Alexander Rowe in 18th. William Brock 19th. Derek Hamill 20th. Matt McIntyre in 21st. Kyle Matthews back here. I would have thought he was up to speed. I haven't really seen him get involved in any wrecks, and yet he's way back here. Matter of fact, all 3 of the S3 Motorsports cars are back here. Matthews, Shelton, and Sanford, along with the rookie Marcus Sachi. Johnny Gardner a lap down off the pace there. And they're about to catch another lap down car, Matthew Rodriguez. They're going to catch him here in turn 1. As now Ryan Acosta. Wow! He just barely got by Matthew Rodriguez, and now he's going to check out with the race lead as everybody else having some difficulty getting around the Caterpillar Toyota. Dylan Young's going to emerge in second, Carson Gum in third. How ironic, the 2 and the 3, second and third. And now we're going to definitely see how the draft comes into play. How quickly are they going to run down Ryan Acosta, who is all by himself? Now, last time by 1.1 seconds, well, actually more like 1.2 seconds between the 10 and the 2. Let's see if that gap gets cut down here. And we'll see just exactly with the 2019 rules package here at Atlanta if the draft does come into play in terms of speed. Does the gap increase or decrease if you're running by yourself against a group behind you? And I think visibly we can see it's closing up. And there you go. There's your answer. 9/10 was just chipped away that lap. Battle is on for second. Matt Haas to the bottom. Dylan Young up top. Jose Mills right there. Jose Mills, a 4-time winner last season, been very quiet at the start of this season. 30th in the points coming into this one, and still looking for his first finish inside of the top 10. His teammates have had a pretty good start to their year. Trey Wright with a win, 3rd in points coming into this race. Jordan Lopez, 12th in the standings coming into this one. So Jose Mills right now the black sheep of the organization, which is rather ironic to say for a driver who found victory lane 4 times last season. They now caught Johnny Gardner, and they'll put him another lap down. Ironically enough, Johnny Gardner kind of held up his own teammate there. Ryan Acosta losing the lead to Matt Haas as a result. Pretty impressive, though. You got Ryan Brommer up here. He's got a buckle on his hood. We know that he ran into the back of Jordan Lopez on that last caution. Lopez has rear end damage. He's still up in this lead pack. And Carson Gum, we documented at the start of this restart that he had right side damage, probably from contact with someone on pit road. He's still up to speed and running up here inside the top 10. And how about last week's winner, Wyatt Quayle? He's got rear end damage that he sustained from the first wreck, and he's still up here and appears to be up to speed. They're going to go 3 wide for the lead. Ryan Acosta looking to get the top spot back. He'll get it as they start to close in again on the 77 of Casey Nanico. This time Nanico again giving the bottom, and this time it looks like Ryan Acosta got the message. He gets by for the lead. Jesse Turner there in second. Ryan Brommer into third. Michael Norman right there in fourth. Good run for the 18. Michael Norman 36th in points, so he could certainly use a good run here this evening, even if he doesn't get a win. And Mitchell Collins, who triggered the second wreck of the evening up there in that 5th position. He's only got 1 career win. That came at a 1.5-mile track last year at Kansas Speedway. And he, so far this season, 7th in the point standings, been having a very good start to his year. I think the caution might be out. It is. Third caution of the day here. Not quite to the halfway point. And again, a caution flag is going to come out probably just before these drivers were thinking about making green flag pit stops. Big break for Marcus Sacchi, who was just a couple of laps away from maybe being put a lap down. So also be a big break for drivers like Kyle Matthews and maybe Charles Sanford, who I think were still up to speed, but got held up behind slower traffic. This might put them back into the hunt to maybe battle for this win. As everybody's going to hit pit road here. That was our longest green flag run up to this point. So as Ryan Acosta leads them down, let's see what actually brought out this yellow flag, because I didn't even really see any smoke lingering anywhere. And it was 2 drivers that were having really good runs here this evening. This was a battle, I believe, for around the 13th position. And Vince Almriego just cuts down across the nose of Benjamin Miles, gave him no entry into the corner. End result, 33 hooks the 42 up into the wall, and both of them sustained some pretty significant damage. Almriego with damage on the rear and left side. Benjamin Miles with damage on the right and front of his Napa Brakes Chevrolet. And that was what brought out the yellow flag, and ooh boy, had some oncoming traffic there. A couple of his teammates, Alexander Rowe and William Brock, as well as Matt McIntyre, very cautiously making their way through and making sure they avoided him. But That's a tough break. They were running in 13th and 14th at the time. Both of them looked like they were poised for good runs here this evening, and now both have sustained some damage. And we'll see if it's going to be enough for them to continue, or if this is going to be the end of their night. Both of them running so well in the points, too. Benjamin Miles was 4th in the points coming to this race, and Vince Almriego in 8th. So this is going to hurt them in more ways than one if they are not able to continue. Nobody out of the race after that incident. Both Vince Almriego and Benjamin Miles have returned back to the racetrack. Benjamin Miles, they took the hood off of his car. Vince Almriego, you can still see the battle wounds on the rear of his machine. But they will continue on as we will go back green on lap 38 of 82. Still a long ways to go in this one. Ryan Acosta, the race leader over Michael Norman, Jesse Turner, Ryan Brommer, Mitchell Collins. Then it's Lopez, Lamas, Young, Haas, and Quayle, your top 10. 24 cars on the lead lap, 28 cars still running. And we still don't have a clue what the fuel window is here today, because we are almost to the halfway point, and we have already worked a total of 3 cautions. The first 2 were big ones. The first one only took out 4 drivers out of the race, though, but it left a number of others damaged and off the pace. And then the second one was probably the biggest one, and that took out numerous drivers. Matter of fact, if we look at our top 10 in the points coming to this race, that second wreck took out the points leader, 3rd in points, 6th in points, and 9th in points. Dylan Young. You kind of can't really say anything good about his season last year. This year, things are, I wouldn't say they're better, but he did have a good run last week at Las Vegas, so he moved from dead last to 31st in points. And if he's going to get good finishes, he's going to probably want to get them here early on in the season, because, you know, we talk about it at the beginning of the year in all series. That's the time when you pick up the most spots in the standings, with the better finishes early on in the year, when the points are all close together. Turner there, Lake Effect Autosport, definitely know how to win here at Atlanta. And Turner comes into this race currently situated in the 24th position in points. This is definitely not where he was at in the standings 1 year ago at this point. So, by comparison, this has been a worse year than last year for him. So definitely trying to pick the pace up. And Ryan Acosta, I'll tell you what, Ryan Acosta, to me, could be one of the strongest cars that we have had all season long up to this point. He was in the hunt, up near the front at Daytona quite a bit. He was up there at Manassas. He was up there at Las Vegas. He's got 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, an average finishing position of 5th place so far in the first 3 races of this season. And right now, as I stated, with the DNF that Seth Cole suffered here this evening, Ryan Acosta stands poised to take the overall points lead heading into next week's race. Mitchell Collins getting help from his teammate Dylan Young. Got a good opportunity here for a Young Motorsports car to go to victory lane. And as soon as I say that, they get held up behind the rookie Casey Nanico, and fellow Toyota Camry will swing around him. Ryan Acosta will go back to the lead. And the caution is out. 4th time the yellow flag waves. That was not up at the front, I know that. So it had to have taken place somewhere near the rear, and there's the skid marks out of turn 2, with the lap cars breaking everybody up, as well as drivers with damage and off the pace. The field gets so spread out here now, so we can't really pinpoint where the wreck occurs. And it looked like it could have very well been Kyle Matthews who brought out this most recent caution. I see some rear end damage. Oh yeah, and some left side damage on his mail yellow Chevrolet, but aside from that, looks like he might be alright. He right now is running last car on the lead lap in 24th. And, ooh, this is interesting. Now we're having a varying of strategies. Some drivers stay out. Some drivers are going to pit. And it looks like they're going to let the lead lap cars and the lap cars pit together, which means that we will probably go back green a little bit sooner. So a good call there by the NNSCRA officials. Gas and go only for Ryan Acosta. Same for Dylan Young. But we had about, I would say, 8 drivers. I think it was 8 drivers stay out. And they will be restarting up near the front of the field. Michael Norman, the first of those. So he'll be the race leader when we go back green. Let's go back and see what happened out of turn 2 for our 4th caution of the night at Atlanta. And this was out of turn 2, and they were 4 wide again. That is Marcus Sacchi up into the wall, collecting Benjamin Miles. And then he comes down into Kyle Matthews. And this is where Matthews got that left side damage as he hits the inside wall. I don't know how much damage Benjamin Miles got because there's really not much front to be able to evaluate the damage. And same for Marcus Sacchi. Don't know how much damage he sustained after that hit. That was a 4-wide situation between Sacchi, Jose Mills, I believe Derek Hamill, and I couldn't quite tell who the other car was. Might have been Carter Friesen, but I'm not 100% certain. Whatever the case, though, damaged off the pace doesn't matter. They're still going to race it 4 wide through turns 1 and 2. And again, a 4-wide situation ends up being the chief cause of our 3rd of 4 cautions. So, that's what brought out the yellow flag. And at least this caution, giving us some varying strategies. So, fingers crossed, if we can get into a long green flag run now, we could have the final half of this race be very, very interesting in terms of who's going to have the winning fuel strategy to take the checkered flag here at Atlanta. So we should get the 1 to green signal this time by Michael Norman out in front, Jesse Turner in 2nd, Ryan Brommer 3rd. 4th is Cody Lamas, 5th Matt Haas, 6th is Levi McIntyre and Vince Almriego in 7th, and 8th is William Brock. Those are the drivers that did not elect to hit pit road here under this caution. We'll give you a full field rundown since we've got the times. The first car that hit pit road, it was a gas and go only. Ryan Acosta restarts in 9th. Gas and go only as well for Dylan Young, who will restart in 10th. But they will be a little bit better on fuel than the top 8. 11th is going to be Mitchell Collins. Matt McIntyre is in 12th. 13th is Jose Mills, Austin LaPlante 14th, Alexander Rowe 15th, Jordan Lopez in 16th, Carson Gums in 17th, 18th is Wyatt Quayle, 19th is Carter Friesen, 20th place Derek Hamill, Jessica Schulten's in 21st, 22nd Kyle Matthews, Marcus Sacchi in 23rd, Benjamin Miles 24th, so all 3 cars there, Matthews, Sacchi, and Miles got their cars repaired as best they could. They're still on the lead lap, and you still have lap machines there on that inside line. Charles Sanford 1 lap down, Johnny Gardner and Matthew Rodriguez 2 laps down apiece, and Casey Nanico is 4 laps down. He has been the slowest car on track on the last 2 restarts. If you're just joining us, we've had 4 cautions and multiple drivers out of the race. I'll cycle down here through the remainder of the finishing results. You can see who finished where of those that have DNF'd up to this point. Green flag set to come back out. Michael Norman gets us back underway. You see Ryan Brommer lined up there in 3rd. Well, the Daytona 500 was won by a Chevy. The race at Manassas was won by a Ford. The race last week at Las Vegas was won by a Toyota. So a Dodge has to win here today at Atlanta, right? Ryan Brommer likes that idea, and he's going to go to the race lead. All of a sudden, we got Levi McIntyre up here in the mix, albeit off of that strategy of deciding to stay out. But Levi McIntyre, Michael Norman, that's a couple of drivers who ran last year. Matt Haas here as well, who did not find victory lane. And so maybe they feel rolling the dice here tonight at Atlanta. It's their best opportunity to get their first career Duracell Cup Series victory. So Levi will go to the point now. I believe this will be his first lap led of the evening, and it takes place at the completion of lap 50. And you can definitely see the field got spread out again. Top 6 up here in this lead group. Then you've got a couple of drivers off the pace, Vince Almriego, William Brock, and then here's that group, Mitchell Collins and Ryan Acosta, who are up to speed. They got held up behind slower traffic. They're now trying to fight their way back up here to the top 6. Wyatt Quayle with them as well. I believe he is also up to speed, even though it looks like his rear end got nailed from behind by about 20 race cars. Another car that I think is up to speed, a couple of cars that I think are up to speed, but just are held up by traffic. Dylan Young in the 2 and Carson Gum in the 3. So they got to clear these guys as quickly as possible. Dylan Young right now, the wingman, trying to lead the way here. Pretty certain that these two are up to speed, but they got a lot of traffic to deal with, that's for certain. Jose Mills might also be up to speed, as now Ryan Acosta, Wyatt Quayle, Mitchell Collins make their way around Vince Almriego, and now they set their sights on trying to run down this top 6, which right now is being led by Cody Lamas. Let's take a look ahead on the schedule at some of the tracks we got coming up. Next week's going to be a very interesting race. We're going to Phoenix, and it's an updated Phoenix. And we're going to definitely... I got my fingers crossed for cloudy conditions, because when we had a testing session there, it was cloudy conditions, and there was a lot of grip on that outside line, but there was also grip on the inside line over in 1 and 2. And if we're going to have a lot of passing, I think we're going to need to have to be cloudy conditions. So, hoping for some overcast weather, but that's going to be a wild race. Remember last year, it ended up being Jessica Schulten who won on fuel strategy when Gardner couldn't make it with 2 laps to go. Following week, we're going to Bristol again. Bristol almost didn't get onto the schedule this season due to the kind of wreckfest we had last year, but fortunately there was a version that was found where the racing was actually good, and so it redeemed itself, and it is back on the schedule. Kyle Matthews, the defending winner of that race, and then the following week, we get our first dirt track race of the season, when we're going to go to the Springfield Mile, and we will have a brand new winner at that track, as, wow, that was a close squeeze between the wall and Casey Nanico for the 8 of Matt Haas. That was a gutsy move. But we will have a new Springfield winner, as Dylan Poteet was the defending winner of that race, and he is not in our Season 2 roster. Well, now comes the question of what is the fuel window for these drivers, because remember, the top 8 decided not to come to pit road. Right now, Ryan Acosta, who's in the 8th position, he was the first car to come to pit road under our last yellow flag. And I'm trying to remember, I think he was about maybe 7 to 8 laps better now on fuel than the top 8 that decided to stay out under the last yellow flag. So when we see Turner and Brommer and Haas and McIntyre, Norman, Vince Almriego, William Brock, when we see them hit pit road is when we're going to get an indication of just about when Ryan Acosta and others are going to have to pit. I don't think, we went back green with about, 33 laps to go. I don't think any of them are going to be able to make it the rest of the way. I think they're all going to have to pit at least one more time. Unless drivers like Ryan Acosta, Mitchell Collins, Wyatt Quayle, Dylan Young, if they can maybe save a little bit. But it really is all going to come down to when we see these lead drivers hit pit road, that we'll be able to do some calculations and figure out just how much further those other drivers that pitted are going to be able to make it. Jesse Turner. Keep saying it over and over again, but it's just as relevant now as it was back on lap 1. The defending winner of this race, trying to win at Atlanta in back-to-back seasons. And right now you've got a Toyota, a Ford, and a Dodge up here at the front. Michael Norman, Levi McIntyre had a little bit of difficulty getting around Casey Nanico, and they have now lost touch with that group. Oh, I think we might have a driver pitting. Actually, they're all pitting. So that just completely confirmed my theory. So these guys here who did come to pit road, they will not be able to make it the rest of the way. We're going to see them on pit road probably somewhere around lap 70, somewhere between lap 70, 75, something like that. That turns the race lead over now to Ryan Acosta, Jose Mills, Mitchell Collins, Wyatt Quayle now up in the top 4. And now as they battle for the lead, question is, when do they hit pit road? And what's also going to be interesting is there was a bit of a gap from then race leader Matt Haas back to this group with Ryan Acosta. So if they come to pit road, if Matt Haas and those others are able to get out, relatively quickly, they could still cycle back around to the race lead. So Ryan Acosta now with the top position, and this is kind of ironic because I'm pretty certain Ryan Acosta, at this point, just in my head, it seems like he has spent the most time out in front. So I would think he would maybe have the most laps led at this point. And I stated before last year that James Qualls had the most laps led in that race, but he didn't go on to win that race. Well, Ryan Acosta is a teammate to James Qualls, and certainly Joanna Atwood Motorsports hoping that the same bug doesn't bite them 2 years in a row. Now they're caught up behind slower machines. Johnny Gardner, Charles Sanford, who are a lap down. Jessica Shelton, who is the last car on the lead lap right now. Well, actually, no, she's not. She's 16th. She ended up actually passing those drivers that came to pit road, but technically in terms of when we cycle the pit stops back around, she will probably be the last car on the lead lap unless she gets lapped right now, and that could very well be the case because Mitchell Collins has forged a hole to the bottom, and he is going to make the pass, and now Shelton is a lap down. Told you I thought Dylan Young, Carson Gum were up to speed. Well, they are now up here. Getting held up behind those slower cars brought Carson Gum and Dylan Young back up into the picture. And I can't help but thinking getting held up behind those slower cars is also going to hinder this group in terms of when they come to pit road and where they're going to come out in relation to Norman and McIntyre and Lamas and Matt Haas. Casey Nanico's been a hindrance for these drivers all night long after sustaining early damage. Definitely off the pace, and look at this, Carson Gum in a battle with Wyatt Quayle for the third position. I believe all three of the Team Chevy Autosport Chevrolets are still running, and I think they're all still on the lead lap too. Derek Campbell right now is in 8th. Mark Casacci's been involved in a couple of wrecks tonight, but he's right now still running on the lead lap in the 13th position. And we're looking at Carson Gum right now in 3rd. Oh, we had a spinner on the backstretch. Matthew Rodriguez, did that bring out a caution? Yep, caution is out. Right in the middle of pit stops. And that is bad news for drivers like Norman, Haas, Brommer, Lamas, Turner, McIntyre. That's going to have them trapped a lap down. As Mitchell Collins leads us under our 5th caution of the day. And this could be the final pit stop of the evening for these drivers. Maybe. Here's what's going to be interesting. Let's see if those drivers that have already been on pit road, if they're going to come down pit road again, or are they going to stay out? If they stay out, then I think that these drivers here are making their final pit stops of the evening. If they come down pit road, then everybody might still be close on fuel to the close of this race. I don't know why Jose Mills went around Mitchell Collins there. Collins was the leader at the line. Yeah, Norman and Haas and Brommer and Lamas and Turner, McIntyre, they're staying out. So, yeah, they apparently were good to go on fuel. They were hoping this thing went green all the way to the end. Unfortunately, they were not so lucky. And let's watch this battle off pit road, because this could be a very important battle. We will probably be restarting with close to 20 laps to go. And again, fuel only, it looked like, for Dylan Young, Ryan Acosta, Wyatt Quayle as well. Jose Mills, gas and go. It's a 2-tire pit stop for Mitchell Collins. He's going to lose a couple of spots. One to Jose Mills and one to Dylan Young. But he is going to have 2 right sides, while the drivers ahead of him, I'm pretty certain, took just fuel only. So that will be a very interesting factor to kind of calculate in on this restart. But for now, let's go back and see what happened to Matthew Rodriguez as he spun off turn number 2 to bring out our 5th caution of the evening. I don't think Matthew Rodriguez had any idea that Jesse Turner was closing on him so quickly. Turner had just been on pit road, so he was going 110%. And I think that Matt Rod thought Turner was going to catch him a little bit later, and so he was trying to move up to give Turner the inside line. Turner, with the run, decided to shoot to the outside, and just a miscommunication there. I don't think Matthew Rodriguez in any way was trying to block Jesse Turner. I think he was trying to get out of the way, and he just mistimed the run and the momentum that the 47 car had. But with him spinning around there in the racing groove, NSRA officials no choice with oncoming traffic but to throw a yellow flag. And not only has the yellow flag been thrown, but a monkey wrench has been thrown into all this as well. Because all those drivers that came to pit road here under this green flag, they stayed out. So they will restart on the tail end of the lead lap ahead of the leader, but behind the pace car. So they're going to have to hope for maybe another quick yellow to get back into this thing with about 20 laps to go. Well, our first two wrecks took out a lot of drivers, and then our last three cautions have taken out nobody. Everybody that's been involved in our last three cautions has been able to repair, get back out on the track. Some of them are on the lead lap still, some of them are a lap down. But the timing of that caution certainly has set us up with a very weird-looking grid now for this restart. Michael Norman is 15th. He is on the lead lap, tail end of the lead lap. He restarts ahead of Matt Haas, who is also on the tail end of the lead lap. Ryan Brommer, Cody Lamas, Jesse Turner, Levi McIntyre, and Vince Almriego. They are all on the tail end of the lead lap from 15th back to 21st. Jose Mills is the race leader, and look at the traffic he's going to have to deal with drivers on the tail end of the lead lap and drivers that are a lap down that inside line. I don't think we've seen our last caution, green flag, back in the air. Now for Norman on behind him, back to the drivers just ahead of Jose Mills. They're hoping they can have some kind of a caution take place here, so that way they would be able to race back around to the tail end of the longest line and maybe still have a shot for this win. Here's the battle for the lead. Dylan Young to the bottom on Jose Mills. Drivers up ahead there. They are battling for position as well as trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap. As Dylan Young goes to the lead, teammate Mitchell Collins to second. Dylan Young now trying to put Jesse Turner, last year's winner, a lap down. Looks like he'll succeed in doing so as Turner stuck behind the slower machine of William Brock. And now Dylan Young sets his sights on all these others to try and pin them a lap down still. Ryan Brommer is his next target, but he's got Mitchell Collins right there trying to swing to the outside to take the race lead. Battle between teammates here at the front of the field. Oh, contact! Right there in front of the leaders! McIntyre and Matt Haas collected up. We're racing back to the caution. Cody Lamas is ahead of the leader, so he'll be back on the tail end of the lead lap. Can Vince Almriego battle back? Same for Michael Norman. Jesse Turner doesn't look like it. They're going to stay a lap down. They were battling so hard to stay ahead of the race leader that they wrecked, and the leaders were almost collected up in it. I think it was just a two-car wreck, which in and of itself is amazing. I think Matt Haas and Levi McIntyre were the only two involved. And Levi McIntyre, oh man, his day is over. Oh, and I think that he may have gotten hit by the rookie Alexander Rowe, who has the whole right front ripped off his race car, exposing that tire. And I think both of their evenings have come to a close. And there is the aid of Matt Haas. It was hard to tell from that angle. That camera angle had the cars coming right towards you of where the contact started, but Cody Lamas, running in 14th, was ahead of the race leader Dylan Young. So you see he went around the pace car, and he will cycle back around to the tail end of the field. So Cody Lamas, at least for the moment, is back in it. And we're going to get a restart with less than 10 to go. So this is going to be wild. And the lap cars, it will be intermingled with the lead lap cars. So Dylan Young and Mitchell Collins, they're going to find themselves in a pretty good situation with the lap down machines of Jesse Turner, Vince Almriego, and Michael Norman, separating them back to Jose Mills, Ryan Acosta, Wyatt Quayle, and others. For now, let's go back and see what brought out our, hopefully, final caution of the evening. Here it was. And there you see Matt Haas. He just kind of went wide there out of the second half of the dogleg front straightaway. Michael Norman stuck his nose down to the inside. Matt House came down, didn't know that Norman was there. And there you can see he gets into Levi McIntyre. Now, where does McIntyre get hit here? Because we know that he and Alexander Rowe had some pretty significant damage. And here they come. Oh, boy. Wow, that's amazing that there was only one driver in that, to be honest. Because there were a lot of cars around the 24 of Alexander Rowe. And tremendous job by Alexander Rowe to keep that car straight after that contact. Because Jessica Shelton, Johnny Gardner, Carson Gum, probably all of them should have been collected up in that wreck, and somehow they weren't. That is a tough break there for Alexander Rowe, though, because Alexander Rowe was running in the 9th position at the time, and he's in the rookie battle as well for the points. He was 3rd in the points coming to this one, 2 points out behind Cody Lamas. It was just having a solid night here this evening, and it comes to a very end here in the closing stages of this race. Tough break for the rookie out of Northeast Motorsports, and a tough break there for Levi McIntyre as well. Levi comes into this race 34th in points. Yeah, he probably wouldn't have finished this race on the lead lap, but he could have at least finished with a top 15 if he had finished up near the front of those cars that were lapped down, and looks like that is not going to be the case this evening either. Alright, so unfortunately here, our most recent caution did take some more drivers out of the race. Levi McIntyre will finish, it looks like, probably in the 28th position, and Alexander Rowe in 27th. Let's set the stage for you here, as we will probably be restarting, I think, with about 4 laps to go in this one. We're just waiting on the pace car to see if that's the case. Will the lights go out? Will we get the 1 to green signal? We will. So it will be 4 laps remaining in this race. Will we get to the checkered flag without a caution waving? Before that was a question. Dylan Young is going to be the leader. He's got teammate Mitchell Collins right behind him. Then you got lap machines. Jesse Turner, Vince Almriego, Michael Norman, Ryan Brummer. Before you get back to 3rd place, that is Jose Mills. Then more traffic before you get back to Ryan Acosta. He's in 4th. Wyatt Quayle is 5th. Carter Friesen. He ended up nailing Seth Cole on that second caution. Somehow he's in 6th. Marcus Sachi is in 7th. 8th is Jordan Lopez. 9th place is Derek Hamill. And complete your top 10 is Carson Gum. All 3 of the Team Chevy Autosport cars are in the top 10 right now. For the rest of your lead lap cars, 11th place is Benjamin Miles. Kyle Matthews is in 12th. 13th is Matt McIntyre, and just getting back on the tail end of the lead lap in 14th is Cody Lamas. So here we go. Dylan Young, he's looking for his first win of his Duracell Cup Series career. Mitchell Collins is looking for his 2nd. Jose Mills is looking for his 5th. Who wants it more? That's going to be the big question. And this traffic that is all lapped down could come into play. 4 laps to go here at Atlanta. Green flag back in the air. See Ryan Acosta darting low back there. He wants to get up to the front ASAP. Same for Jose Mills, as Mitchell Collins going to take the race lead away from Dylan Young. Now bear in mind, the 47 of Turner, the 18 of Norman, they're all up to speed, so they are definitely going to play a factor, I think, here into who could take the race lead. And here comes that 10 car, who's got maybe one of the fastest cars in the field all night long. He's now up here with a chance to maybe close this thing out. 3 laps to go as Michael Norman now on the bottom. He's battling with Jesse Turner for position. Let's not forget there's a battle within the battling here. And now Jose Mills and Ryan Acosta working together down there on the bottom. Don't count them out. They've got to run. Collins gets kicked to the high side as Norman tries to get back in the tail of the lead lap. Here's the battle for the lead between Mills, Collins, and Ryan Acosta. 2 laps to go. Down to the bottom goes Mills. He's going to try and keep the race lead and try and put the other ones boxed in behind the 18 of Michael Norman. Carson Gum's down there on that inside line. Could he have anything here in the closing stages? Look at Michael Norman with a push from Ryan Acosta on the top side. Hanging tough there with Jose Mills. White flag will be displayed this time by Jose Mills. Needs to make sure he doesn't get kicked to the outside line. Ryan Brommer moves low. Carson Gumb's behind him. This could be a battle for the lead between the 3 and the 98. Carson Gum trying to get that inside line going. Dylan Young's right there in the fray as well. Mills trying to clear. Carson Gumb's ahead of him though. Here comes Dylan Young in the 2. He gets kicked to the middle line. Out of turn 4, Carson Gum in the new team of Team Chevy Autosport. He's going to get his 3rd career win in the Duracell Cup Series. He takes the checkered flag here this evening at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm sorry, it's only his 2nd career win in the Duracell Cup Series. My apologies. But how about that? The maiden team of Team Chevy Autosport brings the veteran Carson Gum over. Carson Gum, who had a win on fuel strategy last year at Pocono, made it into the playoffs this season, definitely taking the forefront for the team, showing them how it's done, and he takes the win here tonight in the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500. Wow. When you think about all the traffic he had to fight his way through to get up there, and then position himself just right to pin Jose Mills in the outside line, and he brings it home with his 1st win of the season and his 2nd win of his Duracell Cup Series career. What a battle there at the end. And traffic, whether it be drivers on the tail end lead lap or a lap down, definitely came into play in that one. Dylan Young will have to settle for 2nd place, but that's a great run for him, a well-needed run for him. Carson Gum came into this race 8th in the point standings, so, I'm sorry, no, I'm looking at the wrong point standings. That was last year's. Let me look at this year's. He came into this year's 21st in points. So this is definitely going to help him propel up in the standings. Jordan Lopez and Jose Mills, great runs for the teammates there at a Blue Oval Automotive. They'll get 3rd and 4th. Wyatt Quayle following up his win last week at Las Vegas with a 5th place run here this evening. Mitchell Collins in 6th. And Ryan Acosta, who I think had the strongest car of the night, he's going to bring it home in the 7th position. But the good news for him is, with that finishing position, he will be heading into next week's race at Phoenix as your overall points leader. Carter Friesen, damaged, but he'll finish 8th. How about Derek Hamill there? Great run for him in 9th. That gets him rookie of the race here this evening. And Cody Lamas got that late caution, was ahead of the leaders, got back in the tail end lead lap, and battled back to finish in the 10th position. A great run for Cody, who came into this race as the rookie points leader. Matt McIntyre, that car was damaged and off the pace, still got 11th. Benjamin Miles, he was involved in at least 2 wrecks that I know of. He got 12th still. Marcus Sachi's going to finish 13th, so all 3 of the Team Chevy Autosports cars finished on the lead lap and in the top 15, and Kyle Matthews was the last car to finish on the lead lap. He'll finish in the 14th position. Rest of these drivers all finished off the lead lap, most of them due to the unfortunate timing of a caution coming out. Ryan Brommer 15th, Michael Norman 16th, Jesse Turner, who won here a year ago, he'll finish 17th, a lap down. Vince Almriego in 18th, 19th, Jessica Shelton, Matt Haas completing the top 20, and then all these other drivers finished multiple laps down. William Brock, Austin Plant, Charles Sanford, Johnny Gardner, Matthew Rodriguez, and Casey Nanico. Everybody else finished out of the race due to 5 cautions here this evening. Alexander Rowe, McIntyre, Dollarton, Butcher, Batson, Kukalan, Garcia, Trey Wright, Cole Baker. Points leader coming into this race, but not going to be leaving this race, Seth Cole, Benny Watson, Zach Rogers, James Qualls. Boy, that team just really needs a good run. They have really struggled here. They had 1 top 10, and I think the other races that they've run have been DNFs, and Jack Mitchell finishing in 40th position. That's another driver that really needs good performances in the upcoming weeks, as I believe they came into this race dead last in points. That is undoubtedly where they will stay heading into Phoenix next week. But so far this season, 4 races, 4 different race winners. We're getting close to the point we're going to have to start talking about how congested the playoff grid's looking, because if we get more different winners, it's going to be very difficult to fit 16 drivers into our playoff grid. But there's still a long ways to go in the season as well. But Carson Gum takes the checkered flag here tonight at Atlanta. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's race. Long race, I know, but definitely was worth waiting for that finish. If you enjoyed its race, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We've shown you full picture results These are your overall point standings heading into next week's race at Phoenix International Raceway. That's sure to be a wild one. That one will probably be a fuel strategy race as well. But until then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching a production of the NCRA, Offline Racing at its best.